The next session is plenary session by Ms. Amalia Adininggar Widyasanti from Ministry of National Development Planning or Bappenas and Ms. Ida Ajureso Sudarmo from the Australian National University. This session will be led by Mr. I. Ketut Budasra, PhD from the University of Mataram. Let's welcome him with random applause.
I would like to inform you that we are going to start this plenary session with two speakers. The first is Ibu Amelia from Bappenas. She's going to present paper on blue economy as a framework for future growth of engine of Indonesia. The second presentation will be given by Ida Ajureso Sudarmo from Australian National University. Her paper titled Exploring Riches in the Region, the Case of Artisanal small-scale mining on small islands. So she liked about small. I think we should start. We are running out some time already, about 10 minutes. So we start from Bu Amalia. Please, you can present your presentation.
Thank you very much. I think I would like to stand up here on the stage. And first of all, good afternoon, everyone. And at this important opportunity, I would like to present about Blue Economy Development Framework in the context of Indonesia Economic Transformation Agenda. So let me start with slide number 3. And this is actually one of the reasons why blue economy is very important for Indonesian economy. As you know that ocean areas in Indonesia after Juanda Declaration is increased by 2.5 times compared to the previous one. So before the Juanda Declaration, our ocean area is only about 2 million. And after Juanda Declaration, it is increased to 5.2 kilometers square. So actually by having larger size of ocean areas, meaning that its economic opportunities is also increased. But the question is that, has Indonesia utilized this potential optimally to be the engine of economic growth? Let's see to the next slide. So you know that this is the urgency of blue economy development in Indonesia. What is the potential of blue economy in Indonesia? Indonesia has blue economy modalities. We have 17,000 islands. 65% of total Indonesia's area is actually sea and ocean. And we have exclusive economic zone, about 3 million kilometers square, and the coastline of more than 80,000 kilometers. And according to the Juanda Declaration in 1957, within the exclusive economic zone, Indonesia has the right to manage and utilize its ocean resources for the purposes of exploration, exploitation, conservation, and the development of natural resources for the prosperity of our people. And the question is that, does Indonesia already utilize the potential of blue economy? The answer is not yet. And you know that Indonesia is still left behind in Blue Economy Development Index, and you know what? Indonesia is in the rank of 35 among 47 countries. Even Indonesia is lower than Singapore, and lower than Sri Lanka, and lower than our neighbor, Timor-Leste. And next one. And if you look at the position of Indonesia among countries in the blue economy development, we have lots of potentials, but not yet optimally manage our oceans for the prosperity of our country. If you look at this chart, what is the degree of importance and across the degree of impact, then Indonesian economy is just like on the left side, meaning that for the degree of importance, we have available of natural assets, but we don't have enough ability of governance and technological capacity to utilize that. And if you look at the degree of impact, the degree of impact, we don't have enough capability to generate the economic benefits from our oceans to really get equitable benefits and distribute it among our economy. So I mean, this is why with this position, it is an urgent for Indonesia to really get a benefit from our oceans for the sake of our people prosperity and also for the sake of our future economic growth with inclusive and sustainable way of management. Next one. And one of our concern is that the roles of blue economy for local economic development is also not yet optimal. Blue economy actually has responsibility to communities, but the thing is that fishery sector, for example, in the eastern region of Indonesia, only contributed around 7.9% of GDP in the last 6 years. And this contribution has not yet created welfare to the people, as they are not often associated because they are often associated with a high poverty rate, like for example in the Maluku and Papua area, where oceans are actually abundant in that area. And next one. So what should we do next? Blue economy, we really realize that it is very potential for economic growth and achieving sustainable development. If you look at the blue economy, it is not only about SDGs 14, but it is related to 9 goals of 17 SDGs. From blue economy, we can reduce poverty and also provide food for the people and energy transition, as well as industry, innovation, infrastructure, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, and partnership. So I think these 9 goals is actually the contribution that can be created if we really push the blue economy development in Indonesia. So with that, we are actually committed, especially Bappenas as a Ministry of Planning, next, is committed to transition to a bluer and greener economic growth, to be more inclusive and sustainable. And with that, we are trying to really make the blue economy will be the engines of economic growth in the future for Indonesia, even though there are still challenges in our economy. But the thing is that these challenges, we can, don't give up with these challenges, but we need to make challenges into opportunities. So with that, next slide. Indonesia already put ocean development goals and strategies in our 2045 visions. We would like to have an increasing share of maritime sectors in our GDP along the year. And also we would like to have a reduction in logistic costs, for example, to our GDP, because, logistic, like especially sea transportation, is a part of blue economy development. And next slide. This is one of our commitment of Indonesia in our development strategy. Bappenas is now already put the 6 strategies for Indonesia economic transformation, for being blue, green, and circular economy as the accelerator. And the 6 strategies are competitive human resources. The second one is economic productivity. The third one is green and blue economy. Number 4, digital transformation. Number 5, domestic economic integration. And number 6 is the capital city relocation. So again, I would like also to mention that capital city relocation is actually not only moving our government administration, but the important thing for economic transformation agenda, that capital city relocation will also will be creating the new economic super hub in East Kalimantan. So that's why it is a part of our economic transformation agenda to achieve our aspiration in 2045 to be the high income economy. And again, I would like to underline strategy number 3, which is blue economy. And blue economy is expected to be the new sources of our economic growth. And hopefully with these new engines and new sources, Indonesia can growing faster than now, more than 5% each year. So we can escape from middle income trap before 2045. And that's why my minister, next slide, already launched the Blue Economy Development Framework for Indonesia's economic transformation. And in this document, we really put the importance of blue economy for Indonesia. This blue economy document was launched during the event of Sweden-Indonesia Sustainable Partnership in November 2021. And right now, based on this document, my ministry is now trying to develop the master plan on blue economy. So meaning that later on, this master plan can be the reference for every stakeholder if they want to contribute or to really try develop the blue economy sector in Indonesia. Next, this is the Asean economic value added in ASEAN countries. If we compare to our ASEAN member countries, Indonesia is actually produced 67% of the total value added. And if we compare with the other ASEAN countries, that Indonesia is actually the highest country that have ocean potentials that can create value added to the economy. And if you look at what sectors actually currently contributing to the ocean economy, and now is still marine fish processing, and also marine fishing and marine aquaculture. But again, I would like to mention that in the future, the ocean economy is not only about fishery. There's a lot of sectors that can be created and generated that can be able to produce a better value chain in Indonesian economy. And this is actually the composition. Next slide. The composition of Indonesian economy that is really different from the other ASEAN countries, even though that in East Asia Pacific countries. What I would like to highlight in this slide that with a different potential and composition that we have in our ocean economy, that we have a competitive edge of Indonesia in this regard. And next slide. So, blue economy is a new economic paradigm. It outlines a forward-looking foundation for the future economy of Indonesia. We don't want to go to a conventional economy, right, in the future. We have to find the new economic paradigm, greener and bluer economy of Indonesia. So blue economy is a marine-based economy that can create value added and improving productivity of marine-based economy to achieve inclusive and sustainable economic growth. So this is actually the definition of blue economy that Bappenas is now developing. So again, blue economy is not about fishery sectors, but blue economy is that how can create value added and improving productivity of our economy from our potential in marine-based economy, so we can be able to achieve inclusive and sustainable economic growth in the future. So next, the scope of blue economy is cross-sectoral. This is what I mentioned before in the previous slide. This is not about fishery sector. This is really cross-sectoral. We divide the blue economic sectors into two categories. The first category is how can we uplift traditional sectors for a more sustainable growth. And the second category is the emerging sectors that we haven't developed before. So what is the traditional sectors that we have to uplift to be able to more sustainable way of growth? Next slide. So this is actually the category under the traditional sectors that we have to uplift this sector to be more sustainable. The first is marine living industry, marine non-living industry, trade and tourism. And next one. This is the emerging sectors that we have to be able to start from now to develop these sectors. So don't let we leave behind from this development of the sectors. So what are the emerging sectors? Renewable energy, from wind and ocean energy, bioeconomy, next one. And the other emerging sector is research and innovation, as well as environmental and resources management. So my last part of my presentation is about the way forward of blue economy development in Indonesia. Indonesia is actually already have a commitment in international cooperation regarding to blue economy. I don't need to mention one by one, but I put it all the details in these slides. And because the moderator already reminding me, I only have 5 minutes left. And next one. This is what we are going to do next after the development of blue economy document. So we are now in the process of preparing the master plan of blue economy. And as you know that we have partners, international partners, to develop this blue economy master plan. And in September this year, we are going to have a G20 side event on blue economy. As you know that blue economy is also become one of the priority being discussed in the G20 development working group. And we will not stop until the discussion of blue economy under G20 presidency, but we will carry it over to the next year under ASEAN chairmanship of Indonesia. And in next year, as Indonesia is the chairman of ASEAN meetings in 2023, we will also put blue economy as one of the priority for the deliverables of ASEAN 2023. So my closing notes is, blue economy is greatly potential to uplift the Indonesian economic growth in the future. To be able, we can aspire to be the high-income economy before 2045, and blue economy is one of the important keys to transform the Indonesian economy. Next, if you need further reading, you can download this document in this link. Thank you very much and have a great afternoon.
Yeah, I don't need to lead you to give applause. You already give the applause to Ms. Amelia for her great presentation. We continue with the second presentation by Ibu Ida Ayu.
Yes, silakan.
Please, Ibu Ida Ayu, present your presentation.
Thank you, Pak Budarse, for the earlier introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Selamat siang semuanya. First of all, I would like to thank Irsa for inviting me to this insightful two-day event. And also, I'd like to thank the Indonesia project that has given me support that enabled me to travel from Canberra to attend this conference. Now, the past 2 days, we have heard a lot about economics. That is not my background. One is enough in the family. So today I would like to take you to see a different perspective that is resource and environmental governance. The title of the talk today is Exploiting Riches in the Regions, the Case of Artisanal Small-Scale Mining on Small Islands. Next, please. Now, why artisanal small-scale mining, shortened by ASM? ASM is globally, nationally, and locally is actually a significant rural livelihood strategy. Yet, despite centrality in the poor survival strategies, ASM is often viewed negatively due to its informal characteristics and its often associated social environmental problems. Next, please. Now, it is actually a global phenomenon. Yeah, it's a viable, important livelihood activity for millions in impoverished rural people. In 1999, the ILO estimated that about 80 million people were actually affected by ASM. Of course, it has been 22 years since, and I believe that the number has gone up since. Yeah, ASM is also a significant commodity, provides a significant commodity economy. There is an estimate that 15 to 20% of the world's non-fuel minerals were produced by ASM activities. Recently, it has increased recognition in the role of ASM as a supplement, both a supplement and a substitute for smallholder agriculture. It's a standalone form of employment, and importantly, it provides employment opportunities for the segment of society that are often marginalized, such as women, migrants, and youths. Now here is a map of the magnitude of ASM activities across the globe in terms of the number of people engaged in the activities. We can see in Indonesia, the estimate is over 2 million people are engaged in ASM activities. So it's not a small phenomenon. Next, please. Now, as I noted earlier, ASM actually provides an employment opportunity for some segment of the society that are often marginalized in terms of labor opportunity, that is women. Here we can see that percent of female ASM miners in Indonesia is about 10 to 15% of the entire ASM miners. So female contributes a lot to this economy. Next. Now here is an indicative of the distribution of ASM in Indonesia. Yeah? It is important to understand that ASM, as artisanal small mining, in Indonesia are mostly considered illegal, ya, penambangan tanpa izin. Illegal in the sense that they operate without formal permits, tanpa izin, ya, penambangan tanpa izin. As of 2021, the Department of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral estimated that there are over 2,700 locations of ASM, including some over 96 coal and the rest non-coal minerals. Another estimate suggested that about the ASM occurred in about 4% of the entire land area of Indonesia, about 8 million hectares of the about 190 land area of Indonesia. And then earlier estimates suggested that 0.7% of the population, which is 2-point-something million people, are involved. But this map suggests that 3.7 million people are actually involved directly or indirectly in ASM, which means more than 1% of 260 million population. Now, what are the issues in ASM in Indonesia in general? First of all, there is inadequate regulatory framework for small-scale community mining untuk pertambangan rakyat. Yeah? It is considered low priority. There have been pendulum swings of mining authority from the district government to the provincial government and now to the central government. There have been tenurial issues over tenurial rights, which often are associated with the conflicts occurring in the areas. Of course, there are as well environmental repercussions, which also are associated and connected, related to health implications. And the way these issues are responded to are usually reactive. That is after the fact responses, rather than addressing the underlying causes and efforts, putting a lot of effort into improving the governance and the management of these localities. Next, please. So today, I will focus on one particular mineral with particular characteristics, which is gold. So ASGM, there's a G in the middle. Yeah? In many regions, including Sumatra, Jambi, Aceh, for instance, in country Kalimantan, West, Central, East Kalimantan, in the place close to our heart here, Lombok, actually Sokotong, for instance, NTT, Sumba, Maluku, Pulau Buru, Pulau Romang, yeah, and then Papua, Manokwari. They're all over the place, basically. So it's not a small thing. Yeah? It's not a small phenomenon. We can see this is an old map, 2006 and 2010. I can see that it is not updated because the one in Buru, the one we will look at today, is not there yet. Yeah? Yeah. So, hang on a minute. So, can you go back 2 slides, please? Now, I'd like to emphasize the relevance of this issue to Irsa conference. Why? Why talking about ASM in this conference? First of all, the pandemic-induced hardship actually has increased pressure, and it is increasing pressure on extractive resources and the environment. Second, small islands are particularly prone to higher ecological risks from excessive human disturbance and environmental pollution commonly associated with gold mining. So today, we will talk about ASGM in Pulau Buru in Gunung Botak. This is a picture. Yeah, this is a picture of the Adat community in the center, in the heart of Pulau Buru, the Bupolo people. It's near Danau Ranu. At the time, it wasn't very accessible, 2016. So the people of Pulau Buru their livelihoods are primarily based on agriculture, and there are no other significant other opportunities besides agriculture. So this is just to share some of the ways in which these Adat community are living in Pulau Buru, in the center of Pulau Buru. Keep going. Now, where is Gunung Botak? Yeah, so This talk is about Gunung Botak SGM in Buru Island. Now, Gunung Botak is inside the red circle. Yeah? This is a map from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral. So there are two circle, yellow circles. Those are Grogorea and Mount Botak, where gold was found. Yeah. Also, you can see at the top there's a Halmahera Selatan. You can also see the gold, the yellow dots. Those are also where the gold are found. There's also down at Pulau Romang, a smaller island. Gold also has been found there. Yeah. Next, please. Oh, hang on a minute. I just want you to note that the area of where the gold is found is very close to Kayeli Bay. This will have implications on the environmental impact of the use of mercury and cyanide there. Yes, thank you. Now, gold in Gunung Botak was discovered in 2011, and the potential is extremely huge. Yeah, so according to the Ministry of SDM, in every ton of materials, it contains 4.2 grams of gold. This means it is much higher than the gold concentration in Grasberg, in Freeport. Even in the largest area of Freeport, I forgot the name, but it is still larger because this is 4.42 against 2.16 gram per ton. So these riches, yeah, immediately attracted an influx of miners and others. And one point when we interviewed the local government of Buru, about 50,000 people were at the site trying to, have their luck there. So provided livelihoods, increased income stream, and when we talked to the people, because of the gold, they were able now to send their kids to university, the school in Ambon. Yeah? So, however, it inflicts socio-economic pressures. And remember again, although the activities are very dynamic, the government classifies this as illegal activities, peti, because they operate without the agent. So this is just to give you an idea. Actually, this picture does not do justice, yeah, because I only took picture from one area. Actually, the area is much, much larger. So this doesn't actually do justice of the magnitude of the activities. Keep going. Now, underneath these blue tarpaulins are actually tunnels, holes and tunnels, yeah, where miners go down and then dig the materials and take them to the surface, and then they're transported and processed, yeah, for extraction. Now, what are exactly the issues with Gunung Botak? Some of the issues that pertain to the issues of ASM in general also are found here. The first one is dangerous working condition and methods. There have been a lot of deaths associated with the activities. As recent as the end of May, the early June, 2 people died within 1 week. Yeah? It also shifts the social dynamics, yeah, as other dynamics associated with resource boom, where it attracted local, indigenous, and resident migrants, and attracted an influx of highly mobile, non-resident migrant miners from areas of miners' origin, such as Tasikmalaya and Sulawesi. And also attracts influx of non-miners, of farmers from areas of Buru. And also a horizontal conflict among and between indigenous populations, local populations, and migrants emerge. Now, there are issues of property rights, yeah? Buru has strong customary rights, so the entire land area is divided into 7 petuanan, led by Raja-Raja. Now, this kind of findings, yeah, of discovery actually testing the indigenous systems of sustainable land use. There's also an issue of duality of tenure in terms of resource management, where the area is customary rights, but it also an APL, so area under the purview of the kabupaten, and the other side, some of the area is also hutan produksi conversion, which is under the purview of the Ministry of Forestry. So in effect, there's a duality of tenure there, yeah? And ambiguity in tenure actually can be a disincentive for good resource management and also affect the government's ability to effectively manage the area. Now, another issue is that the short-term lucrative incomes led to abandonment or neglect of productive and more sustainable land uses. So paddy fields are abandoned. Cajput, kayu putih, eucalyptus tree, one of the main sources of income were abandoned. And then their story of health, puskesmas staff leaving the puskesmas station, teachers leaving students and classes because they want to be involved in this very attractive income source. Yeah? So there's reduced capacity, indirect implications of reduced capacity of essential services at the peak of the mining activities. In addition to the social impact or issues that I alluded earlier, there are clearly environmental health issues. Now, the process of gold extraction is highly toxic and highly hazardous, yeah? Because there are two ways that they process the gold is with trommel, yeah, so rotary drum, and also with immersion pond. Jadi kolam perendaman, ya. In the trommel they use mercury, in the immersion pond they use cyanide. Right? And the tailings with the mercury and the cyanide is discharged to the nearby rivers, to the Kayali Bay in the map, yeah? Studies have found dangerously high concentration of mercury found in the rivers, in the estuary, and marine sediments and fish species in Kayali Bay, yeah? Which is impacting aquatic food chains and fisheries resources. Now, of course, this is a high risk long-term health implication. There's a high risk of long-term implication of mercury contamination to the surrounding community and across Maluku province because they have high dietary dependence on a marine protein, which unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, we don't know, it's not immediately visible. Yeah? There are also pressure on essential life systems in the area, wasted agricultural lands. Now, one thing that I would like to note here is that a lot of people understand or are aware that the mercury actually polluted rivers, yeah? The water basins, the rivers, the soil. However, with gold extraction, there is another source of pollution that is not less risky. Because in the purification of the amalgam, so after the trommel, after the rotary drum, the amalgam is actually burned. Burned what? Burned the mercury. So the mercury actually is emitted in the air, and people are actually breathing the mercury. Yeah. Also, because mercury is expensive and because trade is illegal, they want to save the use of mercury. So when the amalgam is done, they squeeze the amalgam to use the remaining mercury another time without any safety or protective gear. You can imagine the mercury gets in the blood circulation, breathe into the air, and in the water sources. So those three are important. So this is the rendaman, yeah? the immersion ponds. Next. Okay, so what are the issues? Due to the sensitivity, probably, yeah, there's largely pembiaran. I can't find the exact English term, but maybe ignoring. Due to the inadequate regulatory framework for ASM, government inability to provide alternative livelihoods, and that because everybody actually enjoys the pie. So the local people, migrants, teachers, church people, the bureaucrats, the political party, everyone, alleged military, and the police. Basically, everyone enjoys the pie, yeah? And the initiatives to better manage or restore the area through large undertaking failed. So one time, the province actually issued a license for a company to actually reclaim the area. However, what happened is that instead of reclaiming the area, the company is actually also extracting gold in the end. So now there's a case waiting for them, although after 3 years, I haven't been able to find what's happening to the case, due to probably, the multiple actors involved. So the pendulum swings of mining authority also impact on how they are governed, yeah? The distance between the site where the activities are occurring, and the decision maker, which is central government. So how to mitigate? What has happened is that, remember the illegal status, that is important, the peti, yeah? I won't say all of them, but one important thing that we found in this research is that it prevents the status of being illegal, actually prevents the delivery of program on environmental and health awareness and improved mining practices. So the ASDM unit at the province, the Dinas Sosial, they don't want to go in there. They cannot make a program to do these things because the status is illegal. Because if they do that, it means they are supporting illegality. So susah jadinya, ya. Okay. However, the notion of legalizing people's mining appeared to be government's low priority vis-a-vis larger mining enterprises or undertakings. So right now, the area is not reserved for mining. No WP, wilayah pertambangan, hasn't been determined as WIUP or WPR. So there can also be no IUP or no IPR. Now, multiple attempts to close the mine has, through coercive enforcement, has largely failed because people keep coming back. Yeah. So the response we see has been law enforcement. So at the downstream, so after the fact, it's a reaction. Yeah. Instead of addressing the underlying causes of the proliferation of the peti. But the enforcement now includes targeting mercury trade. Now, enforcement is one, expensive and also challenging. Yeah? Experience elsewhere has shown that enforcement of strict prohibition of activities essential for people's survival without addressing the underlying causes and identifying viable alternative livelihood strategy that can provide similar benefit has often failed or only partially effective. Yeah. So this is a picture of mining infrastructure after being burned by the military when the mining was declared closed at one point. In the back, I think you can see the remnants of a trommel. So the conclusions, this is a working work, yeah, so in progress. So some of the conclusion is that ASGM in small islands can play an important role in livelihoods and economy of the region. However, it is complex and very sensitive, open plagued with social, environmental, and health issues. The response has been reactive, and it is expensive and ineffective. So it requires more attention vis-a-vis large undertakings. Because neglect and avoidance is risky and have very serious implications, especially in the long term. Requires provision of alternative livelihoods, particularly for islands with high ecological risk. Now, if formalization, if the way is the way chosen, is the way to go, it needs to ensure that benefits flow to those with appropriate rights and accommodate the most needy, but also ensure the protection of affected ecological system. However, they will take a while, I think, because of the low priority. The urgency right now, I believe, is to promote minor and public awareness of the adverse health and environmental implications. So I can think of a zillion themes or topics of research associated with ASGM. Yeah? First one here, just to name a very few in the list, is in-depth actor network examination. What makes it tick? What makes this kind of dynamics tick? Yeah? And look at the mercury trade. Because without mercury, they cannot separate the gold. And very important is looking at alternative livelihood opportunities. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we have seen and heard two great presentations. First is about expanding the base of the economy, going to the blue from the brown economy. The second presentation is talking about not very good economy, but saving life of some people. Although it brings some issues related to social conflict, health, and environmental. But it saves life of some people, particularly those in the area close to the mining sources. Now, I would like to invite a participant to ask question for discussion. We have about 20 minutes for discussion, please. Two people raising hand. First, I will give the first opportunity to Linda. Please, Linda.
Thank you, Pak Bodastra, my longtime friend. I would like to appreciate both speakers for their inspiring presentation, and I can immediately think about long-term solutions. First is the blue economy, and very alarming presentation especially about the health, hazardous to health and environment. Is it possible that, I know I'm probably very naive, but I'm just so concerned about the exposure or the damage like mercury done to the environment will hit back to these very people. And we remember Minamata disease in Japan. So imagine neurological problems I don't know how, I just cannot imagine the environmental impact. And Ibu Amalia, about blue economy, one thing that we need to mainstream in blue economy, I think, is seaweed. Seaweed is very versatile product. It is environmentally friendly, so it can feed people. It can be done for energy, and so on and so on. It is a very versatile product. So how can we address this problem? Offering viable livelihood for these people in Buru, for example. Itu kan kepulauan, Bu. Jadi, I mean, this kind of solution that I can tie it from both speakers, and I'm just so keen to see your response on that. How can we address this environmental problem and so on, but not to hurt these people because they need to live. But how can we help them with the willingness of government, political will to give them alternative, blue economy, do seaweed or something that maybe not as lucrative though as mining, but I think with the strong backup from politicians or government, it can be done. Nggak bisa pembiaran kayak gitu, Bu. Saya sedih sekali tadi melihat itu. Dan itu bukan hanya di Pulau Buru. Di Sulawesi Tenggara pun seperti itu. I've heard so many sad stories from our own family. So this is something that this kind of conference can address. We cannot just, we are scientists, we need to convey this to the government. And thank you, Buddha. Very nice presentation of Bu Amelia. Terima kasih, Pak.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. My name is Milichano Samuel Saplete. Call me Ian. I'm from the Economics Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia area. And I have several questions for both Bu Amalia and Bu Daju. The first one is for Bu Amalia regarding our Blue Ocean strategy. As you mentioned in your presentation, we are very much going to focus on the Blue Ocean strategy, especially in regards to Indonesia's ASEAN chairmanship next year. And we are hoping to become the leader in that discussion. But for the structure of Indonesian fishing sector itself, it is still very much dominated by the marine fishing activities. And if we compare that to the global trend, the global fishing sector already have dominant output from the aquaculture subsector compared to the marine sector. I think it first happened in 2019, but the Indonesian economy is still very much concentrated on the marine fishing. So my question is, what's your take on this? And what do you think of the implication of this for the future of the sustainability of the Indonesian fishing sector. Okay, that's the first one for Bu Amelia. And the second one is for Bu Daju. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. A bit of background about myself. I come from Ambon, so I know a bit of issues about Gunung Botak in Buru. And I totally agree with you about the environmental damages that has happened to the local people, Orang Bupolo in Buru. It's very alarming, and not only for the people in Buru, but also for the people in surrounding islands in Saparua, Haruko, Ambon. Stuff like that are really alarming for all of us. And one issue that I know a bit about Buru is that there's a strong military presence there. And so there is conflict not only among people, but people with these military officers and also them with other government officials. And that conflict is still going on. And what's your take on this? And one other thing that is alarming about ASM is that it is, especially in the context of Maluku, it's opening up everywhere now. Like Buru happened in 2010, and now we are seeing the same thing happening in the island of Haruku and also in several islands north of Seram. So I'm a bit worried about the situation in Maluku. I'm worried about Gunung Botak happening all over again in islands across Maluku. So what's your take on this, and what can the government do to prevent another Gunung Botak from showing up? That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you for those two persons raising some good questions. I think two speakers has made note for the question. I will give the time first to Ibu Amelia.
Thank you very much for the question. First of all, I would like to respond to the question from Ibu Linda. If I could use my presentation slide again, can you help me to show my presentation slide, especially slide number 18? Yes. Ibu Linda, you're right that seaweed have a great potential for Indonesia. And if we can see here on the left column, on the orange column, that Indonesia is actually have, what I can say here, about 5.2 billion value of fisheries export, including seaweed. And we have an opportunity in the future that Indonesia seaweed products have a great potential in the future. But again, Bu, what we have seaweed here is actually the existing sectors that already been developed. We have another opportunity for our seaweed potential, where, next slide please, where actually, if you look at the emerging sectors here, Ibu Linda, we have the potential of seaweed as a sources of our bioeconomy in the future, like for example, algae biomass, including macroalgae and also microalgae. So I think what we are going to really say that seaweed is not only about exporting the raw material of seaweed, but we can get a more additional value added from our seaweed potential for our future bioeconomy. So again, don't look at on the existing value added that have been created, but we have to look into the future, looking forward to another potential that can create a more economic growth for Indonesian economy. So this is my first response to the first question. The second one is the question from area. So your question is that regarding to marine fishing. You're right that based on my slides on slide 14, yes. I forgot the name of the who raised the question number 2 from area. So if you look at the chart here, Then the blue one, the biggest part of our ocean economy right now is, you're right, that it is actually coming from the marine fishing. And the light blue one, which is only like a small part like that, is actually ocean economy, which is coming from marine aquaculture. So meaning that, that if we look at the advanced economy, as you said, that most of them are actually from marine aquaculture that really apply the technological innovation. If I can tell you a story that I was really I visited the salmon production in Norway. You know that it is actually an example of marine aquaculture, and they really apply the artificial intelligence to really grow the salmon and to really select the best, what do you call it, bibit, the best salmon baby. Then the one which is bad is they will not put it into the pond. So meaning that artificial intelligence as well as big data is really used for salmon production in advanced economy. So we are going to that way for this blue economy framework in the future. So that's why if we look at the slide number 18. Number 18. Number 18, please. So look at the first one. This we already been aware from area that aquaculture is potential solution to meet the growing demand in the future. So meaning that blue economy is a way for us to really explore the potential of oceans in a sustainable way. So this is one of solution, and also thank you for sharing the concern as well. And this has become our concern, how that we can meet the demand, but in a sustainable manner. So next one, I think that's all, the response from me, and thank you for the questions.
Thank you for the questions. Ibu dari Sulawesi, Ibu Linda ya. Your first question, alternative opportunities, yeah. To be honest, actually it's very difficult. Why? Because of the value of gold. You can imagine 1 ton of material will extract 4.4 grams of gold, which is what, 4 million? Yeah. It's huge, it's a lot of money, and it's very difficult to find an alternative livelihood comparable to that sort of income. So to me, there can be other opportunities, but not comparable in the sense of current value, yeah? But if you measure, of course, the environmental and the social implications, then that's another different story. So I think in parallel with trying to identify the best bet, the nearest alternative opportunity, we should also try to improve the awareness program, show the Minamata pictures, for instance, yeah, because it's very real. Like I did some work in Kalimantan, for instance, and only recently I realized when I went to the villages, because in those areas also occurred ASM gold mining that used mercury. Now in the villages I went to, there were many disabled, intellectually disabled, and also kakinya, they can't walk and very intellectually disabled. In one village, like 4 or 5. Now that's a what do you call it? A suspicious phenomenon, yeah? And I realize now that the village is near the rivers where they actually extract with the domplang. So it's a very real situation. So anyway, back to your alternative opportunity question. It's a big, big question. That's why I put in the research to do research is that's one important issue, because if at least there is some alternative opportunities, people can think about it, and parallelly, if there's enough awareness, especially local government and the local people, they can defend, coming migrants, or they can manage it well in a better way. That probably will work. Will be a little bit better than the current one. Is that the, for the person from area, from Ambon, thank you for the new information about Haruku and also in Seram. I was afraid that this will happen because I think the region is rich. In addition to that, there's also Sinabar. So it has it has association with the mercury trade, which is NDN used in Gunung Botak, Grogoria, and other ones. So it's not a standalone thing. That's also ASM. So so it's very real, especially in Maluku and nearby areas. In terms of conflict, in terms of the military presence, high military presence, one thing that I failed to emphasize is the strong network and the complex and strong network of actors involved in the mining. So it's not just the local communities, but actually involve everyone, including allegedly the military. So improvement of these not only needed some alternative opportunities, but also improve governance. If the agency that is tasked with enforcing or regulating or making sure that any appropriate regulations are being implemented are the ones actually involved in the activities, how can that be done? So that's why it is a complex and very sensitive issues. With Gunung Botak, for instance, there have been multiple times of effort to close the mine, but at the end, when the monitoring and the police went away, because it's expensive to ask them to stay there forever, right? People come back, and then again it will open again, and then it will be closed again, and will open again, closed again. So yeah, but the conflicts, yes, and that's what happens with resource boom. That's really lucrative. It's very easy for conflicts to happen. So there is no easy answer. That is why the response of the government is actually the lowest hanging fruit. Enforcement, just coerce enforcement. Whether it's effective or not, which apparently hasn't been effective, is another issue. So hopefully that helps clear up a little bit.
Thank you, Bu Amelia and Bu Dayu. I think we still have time to take one or two more questions, please. That one? Is there one more question, please? The ladies, and please raise your question. Mention your name.
Thank you very much. My name is Agung Riyadi. I am from Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta. I think, very interesting presentation from Bu Amalia and Bu Ida Aju. Thank you very much for your information. I think Bu Amalia provides new engine for economic growth, and for Bu Ida Ayu give profit alarm from the mining sectors. However, suddenly, I didn't imagine before, but suddenly I have imaginary comparison about you. I'm sorry if it is wrong. My comparison, in the perspective of blue economy, if Bu Amalia is Freeport, I think, yeah, I wonder, I wonder Bu Amalia will buy Gunung Botak. This is for Bu Amalia, yeah. And this is the comparison here. And for the Bu Ida Ayu, yeah, in the perspective of environmentalist maybe, yeah. If Bu Ida Ayu is government, I wonder Bu Ida Ayu will enter Freeport to peti, to ban the Freeport. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. What is your comments for my imaginary comparison? Thank you very much.
Please, the second, yeah, the ladies. Saya juga tak dengar. Kayaknya dia ngomong bahasa Indonesia tapi bahasa Inggris.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ratnasari. I am the student from the Faculty of Economics and Business, University of Indonesia, and I'm really interested from the Ibu Amelia presentation. You said that one of the strategy of blue economy is the healthcare services that need to be strengthened. And also we believe that human capital is very important issue to ensure the economic growth will be optimized. And so my question is, do you know what is the strategy to ensure the healthcare system, particularly in the marine area, in order to support blue economics? Is this any special strategy or transformation, something like that? Because as we know also, there is a lack of health workers and lack of the quality of health services in the rural and remote area. Thank you. And the second question for the Ibu Daju, I'm really interested with your initial research at the Ambon. I'm also a health worker at the Center Kalimantan for the 2018, and I really see the phenomenon like you see in the Ambon, because there is so many illegal gold mining in there. And I'm totally agree there is many damage from the mining into health quality of life in the community, particularly related to infectious diseases, something like malaria, because there is the forest that become deforestation because of the mining, and also this incentive for the health workers because they prefer to work as a miner rather than to be a
sorry, we are running out.
Yeah.
I think Ibu Dayu and Ibu Amalia has get your point. I'm sorry, Pak Wilmar. We still have left about 10 minutes.
I'm sorry, Pak, because my question is, what is your opinion to strengthen the health system in the area that there is many illegal mining to ensure to prevent or to reduce the damage of the mining itself? Thank you, Bu.
Thank you. We have about 10 minutes to answer this question. I will give the first opportunity to answer to Bu Dayu.
Okay. Thank you for the question, Bapak from 11 Maret ya tadi ya. Anyway, I think your imaginative question of should Freeport be peti instead, if I understand correctly your question. Well, my answer would be that mining should be regulated. To what extent is regulated? That's another question. So that has to be really, really researched and considered. Yeah, and then primarily, of course, the implementation. Yeah, like other issues in Indonesia and in other countries, implementation of regulation is key. Is a key challenge in many ways. Yeah, so so whether it should be peti or it should be, maksudnya izin pertambangan rakyat mungkin ya Pak, bukan petinya tapi izin pertambangan rakyat, or the big guy or the small guy. Yeah, so from my perspective, in any case, it should be regulated somewhat, and the implementation of the regulation should be consistent. Yeah, yeah. Itu. Saya jawab dulu mungkin ya. Yang kedua from UI ya, about Center Kalimantan. Yes, you know. Now the forests, a lot of the lands and the forests where gold mining occurred actually have become sandy, white sandy. You know, nothing can grow, nothing whatsoever can grow there anymore. So you can imagine and that's vast areas. Yeah. So now, in terms of the health issues, again, I think awareness is lacking. Yeah, awareness is lacking. Again, because it's peti, because it's illegal. You know, no agency goes in and give these programs. In fact, in Ambon and Pulau Buru, it's NGOs that come in, but they're limited. You know, they're limited. Yeah, so that's I guess that's the only answer. You know, that's the only response that I can give today.
Thank you, Bu Dayu.
Yeah, this is better. And thank you I think I would like to go to the second question. And could you please help me to show up my presentation slide number 12? I would like to put it into the right framework first before I answer your question. So when you are talking about healthcare system that I mentioned in my presentation, probably you're referring to slide number 12, right? On these slides, then please do not mix up with the blue economy. This is actually the 6 strategies for Indonesian economic transformation agenda, right? So for growing faster than Indonesia, and also to achieve the high income economy, Indonesia need economic transformation, right? So how to achieve Indonesian economic transformation? Then we have these 6 strategies. And one of them is we have to improve competitive human resources, and one of the strategy is to improve the healthcare system, okay? And then among these 6 strategies, that we have strategy number 3, where blue economy is in it. So the highlight of this slide is that I would like to show that blue economy is a part of our Indonesian economic transformation agenda. So hope it is clear, right? Now, the next question may be that whether blue economy is really potential to really support the health system in Indonesia. Then if you can go, I can go to slide number 19. Then when we are talking about the potential of our marine system for our future bioeconomy, right? Then slide number 19, please. So look at this one. I've also mentioned some of them, like probably below the second chart, that actually the biological resources that we can obtain from our ocean is really also potential as the sources of our pharmaceutical industries. So in the future, probably we will not rely more on the petrochemical based medicines. Like for example, if we are taking what do you call for reduce our headache and fever, paracetamol, right? Paracetamol is actually produced from petrochemical products mainly, but in the future, as you know, the growing concern on more to a natural behavior, and also we would like to get healthier in the future, then people will have a trend to get medicine also from the natural products. Then our oceans have a very abundant, we have a lot of biodiversity in our oceans. Then this is very potential as a materials for our future pharmaceutical industry. And also we can have like a more natural remedy from our oceans. Ecotourism in ocean also can be a natural remedy for being like a wellness sectors, right? Well-being activities. Then the other one is that probably and later on in the future that we would like to have like a more on biochemical products rather than on petrochemical products. So I think, hope this will answer the question, and thank you for the question.
Thank you, Bu Amelia, Bu Dayu, and all the participants. I would like to close this plenary, but before that, I think we have a great speaker, great presentation, and great participant with some question. Of course, there are a lot of questions in the future. I can conclude the futures of the growth engines, maybe yes, as we see at the global discussion on economic development, but we are not sure, I think. It will bring great transformation, and who will be benefiting, who will be the loser, we don't know. One take example, Gojek, the owner become Minister of Education, but the people who run the position as Gojek are different before the application exists and after the application exists. Economic transformation for the future may also bring the same thing, like energy transition, digital transition. So we don't know what is going, what are the best. I think for those who are making decision in the future should do some simulation wisely to bring good growth, distribution, and small impact to the community in the future. Let us celebrate by giving applause to all of us. Thanks. I give the time to
Thank you, Mr. Iketut Budasra, PhD. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please give applause to our moderator and our speakers. Next, we would like to present a token of appreciation to our speakers, Ibu Amalia Adininggar Widyasanti and Ibu Ida Ajura Susudarmo, which will be presented by Mr. Diswandi, PhD, as Deputy Chair of Organizing Committee. Once again give applause for Ibu Amalia Adininggar Widyasanti and Ibu Ida Ajur Reso Sudarmo.